Financial Fox. So today is a special interview with Jean-Philippe Baudet from ZU Crypto Networks. How are you, Katie?
Very well, thank you.
So there's been lots of chat, lots of things said on Twitter about your new email product. Would you like maybe to explain a little bit more about Mula? How does it work? First of all, what it is, because, you know, there are many email services outside there, but what is innovative about Mula?
Well, I will describe Mula as the privacy space for user. Email and messaging is at the basic of how we communicate to people professionally and personally every day. So privacy obviously is one main concern, and as we want to promote privacy and awareness about what is the power of your data, what is the value of your data, and how you should take care of it, it starts by basic things. And the basic things would be to secure your main communication line. As many may or may not know, Gmail and such email will scan your email. Facebook will scan your messenger, and so on. So there's a few semi-secure chat like WhatsApp and Telegram, but you don't control the keys. And anyone who's a little aware in the crypto world will know that if you don't control your keys, you don't control your assets. It is the same thing for digital assets, even if they are not cryptocurrency. Your message, your data, what you do with your life, your taste, they're all assets. And they're all assets that has tremendous value for these people.
So basically the core of the mail service is going to be privacy, is going to be data protection, right? And is using blockchain to kind of achieve that. But, you know, we see many encrypted email outside there. What's different?
Well, two things are different. First, we are not the first or the last or the only blockchain email that will be out there. Creating and putting data in an immutable ledger is kind of a fairly basic idea. In the case of how we do it, it's a bit different. So I will say that the main two difference with Mula would be that in your messaging and your email, you control your keys. Meaning that when you interact with Mula, you interact with the rest of the world from the perspective of a digital wallet. Meaning that you interact with your message the same way that you would interact with transaction if you were to send cryptocurrency. So from the first perspective, it changed everything because your credential, your identity, yourself is not a user in a database. Yourself is your ability to prove your ownership over your digital asset, which are in that case your email message and your, let's say, messenger message. If we would.
How about if I'm a Mula user and I send an email to Gmail? Is my email and my data still protected?
Yes, it will still be encrypted with your keys, meaning that in the Gmail server, they will have an encrypted message. They will be able to see and to scan your encrypted message, but as the key are never contained within Google or Yahoo or Hotmail for that matter, they have no access to read your email.
One of the problem of all these mail service is about storage. Obviously, you know, you have got a certain amount of email, and also we are talking about blockchain, which needs lots of storage. So how are you getting around this issue?
Well, this is the big issue, and this is the second difference between blockchain email, general type of concept. So when you speak about storing email on a blockchain, you speak about creating public, immutable value that's going to be there forever. This has tremendous advantage, but it has also very bad downsides. So the baddest downside of it is the right to deletion. So let's say that we take GDPR compliance for an example. Generally, it's made of principle. Many of these principles are about how your data is used, how it is handled, how it is shared, and how private it is. But there's also a very important philosophy into it that says you have the right for your data to be deleted. So if we come back to the question of storing email into a blockchain, we come to this conundrum. We are making the data super redundant and solid. It's immutable. But at the same time, how do you delete it? The simple answer would be you delete your encryption keys, but this is not enough. There is a small risk in the future. Maybe it's going to be near, maybe it's going to be far, but there's still the quantum menace. So if you say that you are recording your message forever, but in 10 years it's going to all be readable, it's not a good product. So in that case, what we offer is we offer the chance. Many of the blockchain email, they will have a backend for you. You will store your email and you don't really know in which ledger it's going to be, or you know it, but you have no choice. In our protocol, you're gonna have the choice on where you want your email to be. We're gonna offer into this the possibility of storing it into private blockchain. These private blockchains gonna still be validated on public blockchain, meaning that every of your email will have a validator. This validator will ensure that the email has never been modified, and mitigating any form of attack in the middle or change in the middle in the file. But the data itself doesn't necessarily need to be on a public ledger. And once you put that on a private ledger, you can then make the node of this private ledger stop. And if they all stop sharing the data and they delete it, the data is really deleted forever.
Coming to the data, you did mention the GDPR before. So is Mula compliant to the European regulation, the GDPR?
This is a good question. I am not a lawyer, but as far as I know the GDPR law, we are fully compliant in the first version, meaning that we never own the keys. We never have access to read your email. You are the only one who access. Just that makes it a very, very, very low risk. But we want to go one step further, meaning that we want to ensure that people are not forced to put data in a place that's going to be immutable. So in the two cases, it makes it very, very easy for people to request their Mula account to be erased if they have chose the private version, and they're going to be erased. Very small chance of the data to be lost if all the provider of your that are running this private database / blockchain for you goes down at the same time, which is has not much chance to happen, but it's still a known risk.
Well, with you announce a protocol that actually enable for different blockchain to communicate to each other. Is that something that you are going to implement into Mula? Because that might be sorting out the problem about failure.
It will not sort the problem about failure. It will sort the problem about cross-chain transactions. So there will be a part in Mula in which you can transact either your message or other type of digital asset using your email. That's in the secondary part of it. And at that point, it will be possible to use your Mula wallet to transact with any type of blockchain. Again, it will be a choice for the user. It's really, really embedded in the philosophy of Mula to say we give you the choice. If you want to have your email on the Bitcoin blockchain because you know that it is the strongest and the most adapted consensus, well, it's going to cost you more. The block time is going to be fairly low, but you're going to have this insurance. If you decide to use this private protocol that with few nodes that are not that safe, well, maybe it is what you need. So it's really a question of how do you need privacy, how much do you need this privacy, how much do you need redundancies in it.
Okay, talking about privacy again, there are a few companies developing blockchain email, but it's not clear actually if any is going to make their code open source. And I wonder whether is something that you are considering, for example.
Well, I cannot promise that we will release all the code to open source. There's a lot of service and module that's going to be added to Mula. What I can say is the privacy part, meaning how we manage the wallet creation, the key distribution, and the way it is encoded and decoded by a user will be released open source in time. Generally, the best practice will be to release it 1 year to 1.5 years after it has been released in production. So we had time to action on it to make it better. And eventually, we want a community of developers looking at it. We will also use more private firms such as EY, Deloitte, or equivalent to have previous audits to be sure that we have all certification and people can believe our promise of privacy. But I don't believe in the world there's any better way to prove yourself than having peer review. So open source is the key to peer review.
Okay, I'm really glad also that you mentioned the word community, because that was my last question actually. Obviously, you know, we are now always talking about community, how to engage with community, how to reward users. So I wonder whether you have included any feature or you have got any plans to kind of engage with this community and build it up bigger.
Exact. Yes, we have a plan on this, which we believe to be an enormous plan in it. We're gonna give reward to the user, but not only random reward. We're gonna install in it a game that people can easily play that's gonna enable them to have a wish list of what type of reward they would want. People can love computer, trip, travel, video game, cars, whatever. The point is these rewards going to be exchangeable against something. We don't want to know in advance what you want. All the game is about what do you want. So I'm going to still remain mysterious, but the important point into this is by using Mula, you're going to get reward that are exchangeable against real stuff.
Okay, so it could be that maybe you're bringing, I don't know, different tokens or different cryptocurrency. Well, let's leave it mysterious, because, you know, this is what we like. I can understand, you know, that now we are just at the beginning. You have developed something, you're going to test how it goes, and there is much more that you can do with emails and messaging, and obviously having at the core data protection, which, you know, is now one of the biggest topics everywhere.
Data is the next fuel. But this is the point about privacy that is often misunderstood, is that there's advantage for your data to be distributed to the right person. Let's say someone wants to give you a free trip to somewhere, you might want to give some data. The important about privacy is not the fact that the data can never be known, is the fact that you have the choice, that it is made in a way that is ethical and that protects you, not that take advantage of you. Everyone should take advantage of their data. So I think that this misconception, we're going to work a lot on the education level to give the sense to people that there's an ethical way for them to deal with their data and still leverage advantage from it. This is what we would call the reward.
Did you find Malta useful?
Yes, well, I had fun there. I also met a very interesting person that is now introducing me to three very big leads for investment. That's very cool too. We are trying also to hook on Acon to see if he would be interested to take part in the email. And so we had like a photo, and I also know the guy a bit because I'm working with another group called ItLab that has that he is a investor and director in their company. So I'm linked by two ways, and I'm trying to see if we can hook him in. Yeah. Let's see what happens.
Okay, JP, can you repeat the last answer about data? You can say from data is very important.
Yeah, sorry if I wanted to add that, but I think it's the main.
No, go on. You just have to redo it because the light went off.
Well, the last thing is we need to understand that the data is the key. Is the key for everything we do in Mula, and it is the key because it has also the value. And one thing that we generally misunderstand in the concept of privacy is that privacy doesn't mean that your data never goes to anyone. Your data can be leveraged. If someone is willing to give you reward or give you advantage that you want for your data, the ethic in it is not to not give it. It's for you to have the choice and for you to have the reward about your data. So what we want to educate people is not only to take care of their data, but to start understanding the fundamental value of their life, of everything that we produce as data.
But JP, I mean, what I think is that there is not enough awareness outside there of the importance of data. So what is your strategy? What is part of your mission to educate people about data with your project?
Well, the game that we're going to do is one big way to make people play with their data and get something out of it. That when people start to touch things, when people start to play with stuff and receive stuff, they start to understand the value. It has happened with the influencers. The influencers started to understand that, hey, if I have that much views, I'm gonna get gift and reward. It was the first clue that the big marketing community gave, that as a matter of fact, people to people marketing is stronger than almost anything. We take advice from people we trust. This is much, much more than any ads on TV. So I think that once you start to understand these basic concept of power, you can extend it. And in the email, it is a personal way for anyone, the average Joe and Jane everywhere, to understand that their data has value. And it's going to translate into real stuff product, not just that we give you a rebate or no, it's going to be real stuff value that you are really interested in, because we want to know exactly what you want, because this is how your data get traction. This is how you give power to the data. It's context. So how can you do that in an ethical way? This is exactly what we're doing there.
Okay, so I incentivize all our viewers to just search and have a look at Mula, to subscribe and give it a try, follow Ziu, JP, and also Mula on Twitter. And if you have got any question, I'm sure that JP will be happy to answer them. You just have to DM him, and he will be
Absolutely.
available to answer any question that you have got. Okay, JP, thank you so much for today. And then I look forward to have you back on the show when you can tell me more about the next feature of Mula and the reward program. We actually look very interesting, because there is no email service provided that is actually rewarding you. The only thing they send you is when you got spam, you have got somebody hacking you, or your storage is basically finished, or you have to pay more for renewal. So I think it will be really good to have something different, where actually you can engage with your customers and clients in a different way that can be fun, and they can see an added value.
Well, I really believe in game theory. We all love to play games, and we all love it when it gets us something. And if, by the way, it protects your privacy, well, so much the better. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye, JP. Bye. Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah. So
we will be editing it, and then I will put it out. And I think we did it right, because we didn't ask too much, and I think there is much more that we can say. For example, on Twitter, say you won't have any. I just remember that we should have said you don't have any spam, you don't have anybody hacking you. This is something.
yeah, we can go more into this, but I'm happy that we spoke about the data.
Let's add this one. So, JP, how actually Mula email is going to protect me as a user? So, would I get any spam? Would I get anybody hacking me? What you can offer that is going to protect me?
Well, there's many layers to it. The first layer is as you are acting, as we said in one of the first questions, as a digital wallet, you need to accept communication with someone to be able to exchange with them the public secret they need to communicate with you. So simply said, when you deal with such encryption, both of the people needs to share a common secret to be able to communicate together. The interesting part about encryption is that your public secret doesn't reveal your private secret, which still remain private to you. So what it means in the spam world, it means that every time I want to contact you and start a discussion for you to put me in your contact, you need to accept it. So if you don't accept it, you block it in one way, and it will never get past you. So if you just leave it in some blank spot without spamming it, it will still not go back, because you cannot send another communication unless you have been accepted. So we could compare that to LinkedIn, in which you need to invite someone and they need to accept. So that's the first layer. The second layer is you own your keys, meaning that they are not in a server, they are not in some other physical device, they are on your device. The only way your message could ever be disclosed to someone is if you share your passphrase for your own wallet.
So how about, I'm stopping you here because what I would like to understand is, let's say that I get the email of somebody and I'm going to email him, but he doesn't know me. So how is going to share his key to receive my email?
You're gonna have to accept your email.
Okay. So you will have obviously to know me, and then
Well, yeah, and to know you, or at least to want to talk to you.
yes,
So let's say I
exactly.
am a business and I send you an offer, which probably you will refuse, but maybe you will not. I mean, you could say, "Oh, yeah, okay, I'm gonna accept this communication."
Yeah,
It's
exactly like LinkedIn.
yeah.
So how about, sometimes there are fake email addresses that are associated to companies such as Microsoft or DHL, and you get these emails say your parcel is attached, your invoice, whatever, and then you look the sender email and it's like a funny email. Those emails, they will never come to me.
Well, they will. You will have to accept them again. So if it's the first time Microsoft communicates with you, which is a doubtful because you would have inscribed yourself in a project and they will send you email to confirm. But let's say it will be the first time, you might still get. Phishing will always have very inventive way to create new phishing attempts. But as it is always a first time, it will be told, please be aware this is a first time communication. Be aware before you authorize this communication. And of course, as soon as someone is flagged as a bad behavior, it will put in what we call the blacklist. So every time something is flagged as a spam, all the IP related to it will be blocked from the system. So the longer we run Mula, the less these actors will be able to go on it. Our
Okay.
intention is eventually to add a layer of machine learning while we gather all this data to be able to create what they call anti-spam filter. But most anti-spam filter are really dumbass for now, so we're going to use good sense in a way that gives the user a simplified power of saying, I want this communication or not. So by default, if you receive a communication for the first time telling you that your account at this bank is suspended, you should give them some call. That's wrong. No bank will ever do that.
Okay. There is something that I want to ask you, which is quite, I don't know how to say. Anyway, you had a communication, you had put some comments on John McAfee works on SwiftMail. So, I mean, is there anything in his project that you think it could be similar to what you are doing, or any comment you would like to share about what he's trying to work,
Well, my first comment is what we try to do is inclusive, meaning that even by using Mula, you will be able to communicate or to use your other type of email. We are already working on an implementation within Outlooks. The goal here is to make it easy for people to not have to migrate all their email, but still have a good layer of protection. I think when we speak about other blockchain slash private email protocol, it's the same way. We want to work with them. We want to see how we can make it compatible in a way where it just make it easy for anyone who has a Mula or a Swift to be able to work together. There is absolutely no sense in competing because we all want the same thing. We all want more privacy for the people.
Okay, so you might be interested in discussing this with John eventually.
Absolutely.